To compete in the Olympics is the ultimate honour in an athlete's life, which makes it all the harsher that these sporting icons were snubbed from the 2024 Games. When Team Great Britain announced the list of athletes heading to Paris in 2024, one conspicuous absence was shot putter Amelia Campbell. Campbell had distinguished herself by winning gold medals at the 2018 British Athletics Championships and the 2020 British Indoor Athletics Championships. Furthermore, she won the shot put at the 2024 UK Athletics Championships, which also served as the Olympic trials for the Paris Games. While that would have seemingly made her a shoo-in for the Olympics, Campbell was passed over due to a new two-stage qualification criteria that combined meeting an Olympic standard with the athlete's world ranking. While her ranking, 38th in the world, qualified her for the Olympics, her longest throw was 18.18 metres, slightly below the Olympic standard of 18.80. As a result, it was determined she wasn't fit to compete. Campbell was devastated, to put it mildly. In the aftermath, she told Reuters, "I'm very much considering retirement. I want to retire because there seems to be no point in me mentally and physically pushing myself to these limits, to be let down repeatedly. These are my 7th championships that I will have been denied. I made Tokyo as well. It's just a joke." Campbell also shared her dismay in an Instagram post, writing, "These policies are not right. They are killing the sport I have loved for most of my life." As is usually the case when it comes to Olympic basketball, the 2024 roster for Team USA included the creme de la creme of the NBA. One name that was surprisingly absent from the team, however, was Dallas Mavericks point guard Kyrie Irving. The first pick in the 2011 draft, Irving has played in 8 NBA All-Star games and was a member of the team that won gold at the 2016 Olympics. So why was one of the NBA's most talented athletes snubbed from Team USA? There's a case to be made that Irving's tendency to generate controversy may have had something to do with it, but Irving himself offered a far simpler explanation. Speaking to reporters, he said, "I just didn't fit into this team. The deliberation process was a tough one. But again, I have nothing but respect for those guys over at USAB." According to Irving, had he been chosen for the team, he would have seen the Olympics as a distraction from his primary goal of taking the Mavericks to the NBA Finals. He added, "At this point in my career, I think my focus should be on winning a championship and in the summertime just going to support those guys when I get a chance." Another omission from the US men's basketball team was Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown. Not only had Brown helped lead the team to win the 2024 NBA championship, he was also clear about his dream of playing in Paris, declaring,
"Playing the USA basketball, I think is no greater honor."
Brown was presumably surprised he didn't make the team, issuing a cryptic tweet after the fact. 3 puzzled-looking face emojis, each wearing a monocle. He then tweeted, "Nike, this what we doing?" Among those who interpreted that as a claim that he was passed over due to earlier criticism of Nike was ESPN commentator Stephen A. Smith. He tweeted, "Do y'all believe me now? How in the hell is a $300 million man, now a champion and an NBA Finals MVP, not chosen for Team USA?" USA Basketball men's managing director Grant Hill, however, insisted that this didn't factor into his decision-making. Hill said, "You get 12 spots and you have to build a team. But the responsibility that I have is to put together a team and a team that complements each other. A team that will give us the best opportunity for success. And so whatever theories that might be out there, they're just that." Jessica Springsteen, daughter of rock legend Bruce Springsteen and singer Patti Scialfa, has carved out a niche in the world of athletics thanks to her horse jumping skills. In fact, she's a world-class equestrian who has become a fixture at international tournaments. She was even a member of the team that won silver at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. Jessica made it onto the shortlist for the 2024 Games in Paris, but when the time arrived to announce the members of the US jumping team, her name was not on the list. Springsteen's omission from the team meant that her parents wouldn't be able to experience the thrill of watching her compete in the Olympics in person. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, they hadn't been able to do this when she took home a silver medal in Tokyo. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar, she explained, "Tokyo 2020 was such an incredible experience, but because of that year, you couldn't have your family and your friends there. So I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to go to another Olympics and be able to share that with my family, who've been so supportive of my career for so many years." Caitlin Clark is arguably one of the WNBA's biggest stars, described by the Los Angeles Times as no less than the most popular women's basketball player in the world. Fans of the sport were understandably confused when the players were announced for Team USA and Clark's name was nowhere to be seen. As the LA Times pointed out, this is not only a sorely missed opportunity to bring much-deserved buzz to the league, but also a decision made for dubious reasons. According to USA Today, sources claimed that Basketball USA officials were concerned that Clark's legions of fans would be disappointed by her limited playing time amid a stacked roster of players, and so they decided to leave her out entirely. Clark took the high road when she subsequently commented on her Olympic snub.
Honestly, no disappointment. I think it just gives you something to work for. It's a dream. Hopefully one day I can be there.
When asked why Clark wasn't selected to compete in Paris, USA Basketball men's managing director Grant Hill distanced himself from the decision, emphasizing he was in charge of the men's team, not the women's. Soon after, Clark landed a role on the Olympics team as an alternate. Although, notwithstanding any injuries that might occur, she is unlikely to take to the court during the 2024 Games. Golf fans in the Netherlands celebrated when 4 Dutch golfers qualified to compete in Paris at the 2024 Games. Celebration turned to confusion, however, when Dutch Olympic officials announced that just one of the 4, Anne van Dam, would be competing in the 2024 Games. That decision came from the Netherlands Golf Federation, reasoning that the rankings of the other 3 weren't high enough to give them a realistic shot at a medal. So why bother? The decision irked golfer Joost Luiten, one of the 3 who weren't allowed to go to Paris. He defiantly announced that he intended to take the matter to court, writing on Instagram, "We will put our case in front of a judge and get an independent judgment." In a follow-up post, he revealed that he had done this and won, meaning he would be going to Paris after all. After thanking his lawyers and the court for hearing his case so quickly, he expressed his excitement over his legal victory.
I don't want to do this, but I felt like I needed to do this, and luckily I had good enough points to do it and to win it.
In the world of Australian field hockey, Rosie Malone is a bona fide superstar. Seen as a shoo-in for Australia's Olympic team, the Hockeyroos, she was shockingly snubbed for the team in July 2024. Malone appealed the decision, but was denied. She subsequently posted an emotional message on Instagram, accompanying a video interview filmed in May 2024, when she assumed she'd be a lock to compete in Paris. In the caption, she wrote, "When I watched it back a few days ago, I realised I saw a girl sitting there feeling like no matter what she did, what she achieved, what she gave back to sport and to the people around her, for some of them, nothing was ever going to be good enough." Malone continued by listing all her achievements in the sport and then added, "What defines good enough? I honestly don't even know anymore." While fans were stunned by the decision, former Hockeyroos player Georgie Parker shared her theory behind Malone's omission from the team. In an interview with Wide World of Sports, she said, "I'd assume that the explanation from the coaching staff is the fact that she's only scored 1 goal in her last 15 games. However, Parker also understood why that would be such a tough pill to swallow for an athlete who had expected to have a spot on the Olympic team. Soccer player Alex Morgan is a 2-time World Cup champion who helped lead Team USA to Olympic gold at the Games in 2012 and a bronze in 2020. After a bit of a rough season, however, her name was nowhere to be seen when the 2024 Olympic roster was unveiled. Morgan responded by tweeting a statement that read, "Today, I'm disappointed about not having the opportunity to represent our country on the Olympic stage. This will always be a tournament that is close to my heart, and I take immense pride any time I put on the crest." The team's coach, Emma Hayes, revealed why such a legendary player didn't make the cut, explaining she wanted to give younger, more inexperienced players a shot.
We need to start giving exposures and experiences to players that might have been in and around it, might have been on the bench.
A rising star with Real Salt Lake, soccer player Diego Luna was expected to be tapped for the US men's Olympic soccer team. His name was not among the 25 athletes chosen to attend training camp, however. The decision not to enlist such a dynamic and talented player was met with disbelief by many. Noted sports writer Jacob Schneider wrote for Goal, "The US will surely regret this one. It's a baffling decision on every possible count and, frankly, disappointing. Luna being excluded from the Olympic roster is more than a head-scratcher. It feels like a genuine mistake." According to team coach Marko Mitrovic, Luna's stellar performance with Salt Lake City had not been overlooked, and the athlete had always been under serious consideration. In an interview with American Soccer Now, he pointed out that other talented players were likewise not chosen for the Olympic team. Responding to his snub, Luna took the decision in stride. At a press conference, he said, "Decisions are made in soccer with different teams, different coaches. There's nothing you can do about it." British triathlete Jonny Brownlee competed in the previous 3 Summer Olympic Games, winning a bronze medal at the 2012 Games in London, a silver at Rio in 2016, and a gold medal at the 2020 Tokyo Games. Given that track record, it would be a logical assumption that Brownlee would be invited to Paris to continue his winning streak. However, when the athletes were announced for Team Great Britain, Brownlee's name was not among them, even though he had delayed his retirement to compete in Paris. In a 2023 column for the Metro, he had written, "We write people off a bit in elite sport when they enter their 30s, but I'm 32 and feeling fit and up for the challenge." According to Mike Cavendish, British Triathlon's performance director, the decision to omit Brownlee from the team's roster was a tough one to make. He told the PA news agency, "It's one of those things where Jonny has given so much to this sport and he's still an absolutely outstanding athlete. There's no doubt that, had we decided to pick Jonny, he would have still done a brilliant job." Brownlee shared his disappointment in an Instagram post writing, "After 99 World Triathlon starts, 52 podiums and 3 Olympic medals, it's not the fairy tale ending that I'd wished for. But Paris was always a bonus, and it can be the unwritten chapter of an incredible book."